Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. Almost 7 years ago, my family cut me out of their lives and kicked me out of the house. I, 29 male, was 22 at the time and wasn't financially stable enough to rent an apartment on my own. What had happened was so sudden that I had no time to prepare myself at all, mentally or financially. The reason behind all of this was my sister. My sister Hannah, 37 female, and I have never been close because of the significant age gap between us. She got married to her boyfriend Pete, 39 male, of 3 years when she was 27, and they were married for 3 years. They got divorced 3 years into their marriage because Hannah had accused Pete of having an affair with one of my friends. I'd been living with my parents after college since I had just started working and wanted to save some money before moving out. My parents were okay with that arrangement until my sister announced her divorce. She came back home one day crying hysterically and announced that she'd filed for divorce because her husband had been cheating on her for 6 months. Then she went on to throw me under the bus for introducing my friend to him. My friend Emily, 28 female, was trying to gain weight, and since Pete was a certified dietitian, he agreed to help her out. I had been the one to introduce her to him, and apparently, she was the one Pete had been cheating on my sister with. I was shocked that this was happening, because even though Emily and I weren't close, I knew for a fact that she was a good woman and would never get with a married man. Besides, cheating was so out of character for Pete as well. He was totally smitten with Hannah and only ever had good things to say about her, so I found it incredibly hard to believe that he cheated on her. I had my doubts, but my parents believed her instantly and didn't even question anything, in spite of the fact that she never had any proof of him cheating. They just took her word for it. I'm not going to hold it against them since they would choose their own daughter over their son-in-law regardless of who was right. What I didn't understand was why they readily kicked me out just because Hannah said so. She stormed in one day, threw a tantrum, and somehow convinced my parents to throw me out simply because I'd introduced Emily to Pete. She accused me of ruining her marriage, and my parents agreed with her for some reason. I was devastated and tried to stop my parents, but they weren't ready to listen to me at all and told me that if I didn't leave, they'd forcefully kick me out. In just one day, I lost my family and my home and had absolutely no idea where to go. I was sobbing out on the sidewalk with all my stuff for an hour or so before I was able to pull myself together and went to a friend's house for the night. I tried contacting them every single day for the next few days but didn't have any luck. My friend was kind enough to let me live at his place until I was able to find an apartment. Unfortunately, my parents had pretty much made up their minds that I was in the wrong and responsible for the divorce. My mom and dad even told me they were disgusted by what I'd done before kicking me out, which didn't even make sense because it wasn't like I was the one Pete cheated with. They blocked my number, and when I tried to visit, my mom threatened to call the cops if I didn't leave. That's when I realized they seriously blamed me. I shouldn't have been surprised. My sister had always been the favorite. My parents never really planned for a second child, so I always ended up sidelined. While I didn't care much growing up, I didn't think it would lead to something so huge. Thinking about it now, maybe I should have seen it coming. But honestly, who could? I couldn't speak to Pete either. He blocked me too. Both Hannah and Pete moved out of their house and went to live with their respective parents. I had no way to reach anyone involved. So I approached my last resort, Emily. Like I said, we weren't close, but I had to do what I had to do. I asked her if what Hannah said was true. She denied it vehemently, and I believed her. Emily said she only met Pete a few times, in a professional capacity. There was nothing going on between them, and she had no idea why Hannah would say something so awful. She even had a long-term boyfriend she was planning to marry, and she showed me pictures. Her version was way more convincing than Hannah's. I had no proof, but I knew Hannah was lying. Still, without evidence, I couldn't go back. Eventually, I moved on. I found a place, focused on work, and made it my purpose. I had bills to pay and no time to sulk. Years passed, and now I'm doing better. I moved to a bigger apartment and got engaged to my girlfriend of 2 years, Liza, 30 female. Our engagement post went viral on Facebook, and that's what changed everything. A few days later, I received an email out of nowhere. It explained everything. It had proof. Pete had seen the Facebook post. He happened to be someone Liza had met at a seminar years ago and added him on Facebook. He decided to send me an anonymous email. He didn't want to seem like a sore loser who hadn't moved on. Plus, he had been the one to block me. The email told me Hannah had been the one cheating, on Pete, with my friend Frank, 28M, a grocery store cashier near her house back then. I never suspected it. Pete found out and confronted her. She told him I introduced her to Frank and was in on the whole thing. That was a complete lie. I hadn't even known about their affair. Attached to the email were screenshots, emails between Hannah and Frank, confessions of love, secret meetups. She even signed off with her middle name, which few people knew. She was caught. I figured out Pete sent the email after checking Liza's friends list. We met in person a few days later, and he told me he only found out about what Hannah told our family because he ran into Emily a couple of years ago. She asked about the divorce, and they got to talking. He admitted he wanted to contact me back then, but felt too weird about it. I forgave him, because now I needed his help to absolutely ruin my sister. Hannah had lied to keep financial support during the divorce and thrown me under the bus because she knew one conversation with Emily would expose her. Pete and I showed up at my parents' house unannounced. My mom opened the door. My dad and Hannah were in the living room. My dad immediately threatened to call the cops. I said go ahead, after reading these documents. We showed them everything, emails, the truth, even how Hannah had to give up our grandmother's diamond ring during the divorce settlement because she couldn't afford to pay Pete. My parents were horrified. My dad demanded an explanation. Hannah still tried to lie. He kicked her out on the spot, packed her stuff, handed it to her, just like they did to me 7 years ago. Hannah showed up at my place a few hours later, begging me to fix things with our parents. I told her I didn't owe her anything. She sobbed and called me a monster. I shut the door. She left a message on my door with a marker calling me a revengeful monster. I don't care. I did to her what she did to me, but I told the truth. Update 1. Hannah kept bothering me for a week. I had to threaten police action after her 14th call. She somehow found my number and address. She's trying to guilt me, saying a teacher's salary isn't enough. I think she's just mad she has to pay for her own groceries and rent. I blocked her several times, but she uses friends to call me on conference. My parents saw the engagement post too. Now, they want back in. They haven't apologized, but still expect an invitation to my wedding. Liza and I just laughed reading their messages. It's sad. They threw me out, and now they want in like nothing happened. Update 2. Hannah showed up again yesterday, threw herself on my car hood, refused to move. I called the cops. She screamed and cried, trying to act like the victim. I pressed charges, left for work. My parents bailed her out and sent me a long message claiming it was an honest mistake from 7 years ago. I texted back saying they lost any right to tell me what to do. I'll block them soon. I just haven't had time. Update 3. Just got home from work. Another long message from my parents. Liza and I laughed reading it. Apparently, they've taken Hannah back in and want to sort things out. Over dinner before the wedding. Bold of them to assume they're invited. I wrote back saying I wanted nothing to do with them anymore and blocked them for good. Liza is the only family I need now. If they ever contact me again, it'll be through my lawyer. OP's sister didn't just make a mistake. She fabricated a narrative that got OP kicked out of his own home, cut off from his family, and left sobbing on a sidewalk. And she did all of that knowing full well that she was the one cheating. OP didn't ruin her life. OP exposed what she did. Big difference. She reaped what she sowed. Frankly, she got off easy. OP didn't go online to air it all publicly. He just presented the truth to the people who needed to hear it. OP's parents made their own bed too. No apology, no remorse, and now they want to attend OP's wedding like nothing happened. Nah. OP's only mistake was trying for too long to win back people who never gave him the benefit of the doubt. I'm glad OP is thriving now. And now let's hear community's opinion, not the a-hole. You were used as a scapegoat for your sister's affair. Your parents didn't ask for proof, didn't listen to your side, and didn't show a single ounce of compassion. It blows my mind how quickly they tossed you out without so much as a conversation. And then, after all these years, they try to waltz back into your life without even apologizing? Absolutely not. What's worse is your sister still trying to make you the villain after she got caught. She locked herself into her own mess and wants you to clean it up again. Honestly, she's lucky you only exposed her to your parents. If this had gone viral online, she'd have a lot more than a bruised ego to worry about. Your fiancé sounds amazing, and I'm glad you've built something beautiful after all the pain they caused. Keep those boundaries firm. You owe them nothing, not the a-hole. Let's be real. Your sister knew exactly what she was doing when she framed you. She knew your parents would believe her. She knew you didn't have anywhere to go. She weaponized her position as the golden child to ruin your stability, just to protect herself from the consequences of her own actions. You didn't get revenge. You sought truth, accountability, and closure. The fact that she can lie, manipulate, and still play the victim after everything is wild. And now she's sobbing on your doorstep, expecting you to fix things with the very parents who emotionally abandoned you? Nah. Closure doesn't mean forgiveness, and it definitely doesn't mean pretending nothing ever happened. Good for you for holding your ground. And major props to Pete for finally doing the right thing, even if it came late. You don't owe your family a single minute of your time anymore. People love to scream, "Family is everything," until the family is the one doing the abusing. You got kicked out, slandered, blocked, and emotionally exiled, all because your sister couldn't own up to her mistakes. And when the truth finally came out, she expected grace? That's not how life works. What you did wasn't petty. It was necessary. You defended your name with receipts. And now that they're facing the consequences of their own choices, they want back in your life without even acknowledging what they did to you? Hard no. Protect your peace. Marry your fiancé. Live your best life. And don't let guilt trickle in. They showed you who they were. Believe it. Let the door hit them on the way out. Not the a-hole. My family is originally from a village, but my grandpa moved to the city with my nonna when they were 17 and 19. He worked hard and became a really successful businessman. My female 22, dad, male 46, has his own business, and my dad's siblings are also really well off and overall very successful people. My dad's cousins, not so much. My grandma and her sister married brothers, so my dad, uncle, and aunts have a really big family because they got both parents' side into one. Nonna raised my dad and his siblings, and when my sister's kids, 8 of them, all reached schooling age, she would take them in so they could get better schooling here. My dad was really close with his 2 cousins, Will, male 49, and Neil, male 51. So when he finished college and came back home, he pulled them out of crappy jobs so they can work for him. Long story short, we found out 8 years ago that Will and Neil have been stealing info from my dad and selling them to his rivals, which led to his company going bankrupt. So my family had a rough patch and secrets spilled, which led to my fam not to talk to them for years until my nonna's sister was about to pass away, and her last wish was for the family to be okay again, which we granted. So we remain in a civil relationship with them. We only did this because my nonna loved her sister dearly. Now I came back from college. We have these family dinners every month, and when I get there, I make small talk with my cousin Laura, and I told her about my house hunting trip. Me and my boyfriend want to move here because of our jobs. Neil's daughter Diana, who was sat close, says in a really sarcastic voice, "Thank God perfect OP with her perfect life is moving back home." I was baffled and asked her what her problem is, and she said that she is tired of me getting everything handed to me in a silver spoon. And my other cousin Lee said that it is unfair that I get to have a good job waiting for me here, plus that I get to go house hunting in this market. My uncle overheard and shut them down. But Neil says it's okay, they were just joking. Fine, whatever. After a while, Diana huffed again that it isn't fair that I get to live this perfect life. To which I had enough and said, if your dad wasn't a thief, maybe you would also be able to live comfortably. This caused Will to get angry and started calling me a spoiled bee. My uncle had them kicked out. As they were leaving, Lee broke my G-Wagon's window and windshield by throwing a brick at my car. I have it all on camera and plan to send it to him with the bill to get it fixed. My grandpa isn't talking to me and says I should have been the bigger person because they are jealous. My dad and uncle say I was right. I talked to Nona and she said I'm not at fault, but started crying about how awful it is that her late sister's only wish is not being fulfilled, and told me to not make them pay for the car. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Obviously not the a-hole. If your Nona's sister wanted the family to be okay again, maybe she shouldn't have raised thieves. I don't know. Make them pay for the car. It's only right. Either that or ban them from the house, because at some point, you cannot fulfill this wish of your Nona's dead sibling because it isn't feasible for the good people in the relationship to carry it all. Not the a-hole. Your dad's cousins betrayed their family for their own gain. That being said, they deserve everything said and put against them. Your cousins broke your window because they had nothing else to say against the fact that your father's cousins stole from him. They just didn't want to hear it, so they reacted. Will calling you a spoiled bee is quite ironic, since he would have obviously spoiled his daughter if he didn't get caught being a ducking lowlife and stealing from the man who helped him. I did some work for my cousin at the beginning of the year. She really needed help with a job she took on editing a video, and I spent countless hours working on it for her. She took the video, gave it to her client. The client loved it, but I haven't been paid. Every time I ask about the invoice, she gives me an arbitrary date. Then, when the date comes, nothing. She doesn't even give an update. She claims she has no money, yet she has a staff job, owns her own business, has other contractors she pays, and recently came back from a vacation. She is also currently upset at me because I called her out not doing her job. We work together for another company. On July 19th, we had this exchange through text. Me: hi, name. Do you know when you will be able to pay the outstanding invoice? Cousin: will pay as soon as I can. Thanks for only reaching out to me when you need something. Me: I'd like a firm date or payment plan of installments by the end of the week, please. Cousin: goodbye, name. I'll get it to you as soon as I can. Nobody wants to be in debt to you, trust me. Me: please provide a plan on how to pay the invoice by the end of the week. Thanks. Cousin: goodbye. I hear nothing from her, of course. August 22nd, we had this exchange. Me: hi, name. It has been over a month since I asked you for a payment plan for the invoice. No matter how you feel about me or whatever is going on, you still have an obligation to pay the outstanding invoice and be communicative regarding it. I'm asking again, when will the invoice be paid, or when do you plan on beginning on making payments? Please let me know ASAP. Hope you are well. She never responded, even though I sent a text the next day to follow up. I start getting upset, and September 2nd I sent, me, following up, again. Please let me know what you plan to do. I don't care if you don't like me or whatever, but you can't just ignore me because you don't want to pay. Cousin: name. The fact that you think I don't want to pay you because you think I don't like you is hilarious and disappointing. I wish I had the money to pay you and will get it to you as soon as I can. You absolutely do not have to remind me. You have disappointed me enough. When I get the money, I promise I will pay you. To which I responded, me: I've texted you about this for months, and you stop responding after telling me no one wants to be indebted to me. Pay me then. I'm tired of you pretending you are in the right. I did a job for you in January, and you've promised many times to pay, and now you don't even try to pay anything? You are wrong here, and I need to know when you can pay me and stop playing games. She's not responded. I feel she's taking advantage of me and the fact that she is mad at me to not pay. I'm tired of this, and I want my money, and I feel like the only way is to teach her a lesson and sue her in small claims court. But she's family, and I wonder if I'd be a jerk doing so. Would I be the a-hole? Update. I texted her, found out she blocked me, and emailed her this. Me. Hi, name. It's been over 233 days since the initial invoice was due. It's been almost 60 days since my request to pay in full or provide a payment plan. I don't want to have to contact an attorney over this, but I'm going to do so if this invoice isn't paid by the end of the week. Her mother called me shortly after, telling me that we don't do things like this, Sue, because we are family, and she was always there for me, and I stayed with her mother when I came to town for work, and no one asked me to pay for that. I told her that no, family doesn't do things like this, but when you stop acting like family, this is what happens. I gave her the general rundown, and now I'm even more upset that they seem to be making this a me thing instead of just taking responsibility. Update. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't heard anything from my cousin, and I did not get paid. I did not contact a lawyer. I think I'm just going to write it off on my taxes. I did find out that my cousin also owes my older cousin money for covering for her classes all summer for her as well. I want to write a letter or something and then go no contact, but I know it'll do no good. Tell her you're filing in court and you'll include the client. See how well her business does if the clients find out she doesn't pay her bills, and start adding late fees to the amount she owes. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Here's what happened. She wanted something, expected it for free. You did that thing and told her it would cost X amount of dollars. She decided she was never going to pay for it. She played all her cards and she assumes you'll just give up and forget. If you're nice, contact her and say, hey, so it's been X amount of days. I asked you to pay the invoice in full by July 22nd. It's almost 60 days past due. I don't want to have to contact an attorney over this, but I'm going to do so if this invoice isn't paid by the end of the week. Make it business, nothing personal. Don't say, well, I know you're not broke, you're going on vacations, etc. Just keep it strictly, this is what you owe, it's past due. I will contact an attorney and take additional steps as necessary. Not the a-hole. Take her to small claims court. You have to support yourself too. Just because you're family doesn't mean you get a free ride. So I, 27 male, have been dating Jen, 27 female, for 7 years. Obviously, with her being around so much, she is like part of my family. My cousin, Megan, 26 female, is getting married. She was just married a year ago. Jen was a bridesmaid and I was in the wedding. She left her husband after 1 year to be with Tony, who was married at the time with 2 kids. Obviously, this was the family gossip, and Megan's mom, my Aunt G, mom's sister, was embarrassed, but tried to cover for Megan as much as she could. After this, I really didn't talk to Megan much, and neither did Jen. We all got invited to the second wedding. Jen said she didn't want to go. Jen comes from strong religious values and thought what Megan did was wrong and didn't want to support this wedding. I agreed because I was going to suggest the same thing. So we host cousins' game nights about once a month. Me and my cousins are ridiculously close. I've been labeled the ringleader by my aunts. I'm the oldest, the first to have a house, would host my cousins. Some of my cousins would crash at my place in high school if they didn't want to go home, etc. When the wedding got brought up, me and Jen informed the group we wouldn't be attending. My cousins, their significant others, were asking why and saying they all RSVP'd already. I told them they should go if they want, but we wouldn't be going. Well, this started a crap show. Multiples of my cousins backed out. My other aunts, uncles are furious at my cousins because my cousins are saying they won't go. My mom is distraught, saying that we'll be left out of the picture. We take a large family photo at weddings, saying it will hurt Megan, it will dampen the wedding, that my cousins will follow my lead, and the family needs me there. I gave her my reasons. My Aunt G and my grandma showed up to my house begging me to go, saying that if I agree to go, then my cousins will too. I said that I have better things to do that weekend, and I've asked them to leave. Tony and Megan called. Megan accused me of trying to sabotage the wedding while Tony tried to play peacekeeper. Jen just hung up as Megan started to yell as we were on speaker. I understand how it would appear we are trying to make a point. I understand that we'll be left out of pictures and how upset the family will be. But we don't want to support this circus. We don't want to spend money and time on my cousin again, and I'm a little sick of my aunt's behavior towards it all. Am I the a-hole? Info. It's unknown if Megan actually cheated on her husband or not, but within a month, she had moved in with Tony, who divorced his wife and 2 kids. Not the a-hole. It's a wedding invitation, not a court summons. Not the a-hole. If the family photo is the problem, just tell Megan to Photoshop Todd into last year's wedding photo over last year's husband. Problem solved. Not the a-hole. You and Jen are absolutely not the a-holes for refusing to go to the wedding. It sounds like the rest of the cousins didn't want to go either, and your refusal gave them the permission they needed to do the same. If you want your family to support your wedding, don't participate in an affair. Okay, so my dad is hard to shop for. I always tried to do my best to get him something he would enjoy, but that wasn't something to use in his work since I know he prefers fun gifts. A few years ago, I got him a desk toy. It was a magnetic disc that came with a collection of hex nuts that could be stacked and connected on it. About a week after this, I was talking to my grandma, and I mentioned the gift and that I think he liked it, but that my brother really stole the show by getting him a model of the first car he had as a teen. Well, Grandma laughed in my face and revealed that no, my father in fact told her that my gift was just stupid trash and that he can't even use the nuts because they're metric. I know it wasn't a good gift, I guess, but I was struggling at the time financially and wanted to make sure I got everyone something, even if it was small. I just really got hurt hearing this, and so this year when his birthday came, I went home and took him nothing. My family also did an early Christmas for my dad's side of the family, since my cousin will be out of state soon until 2022. Again, I got him nothing. He said nothing to me, but had my mom ask me why I hadn't gotten him a gift, but did for pretty much everyone else. So I told him, well, I knew I would risk getting you trash, and I can't tell the difference between metric and imperial hex nuts, so you can just get your own, right? He was less than thrilled. My family has since joined together to tell me what a brat I am, that I was disrespectful, and as my father, he deserves better. He personally hasn't spoken to me much since. Am I the a-hole for being blunt? I know I could have been more subtle or gentle, but it just really stung. Not the a-hole. I've never heard of a parent calling their child's Christmas gift trash. He didn't appreciate the effort you put in, so he doesn't deserve it any longer. Not the a-hole. If your dad can't be a polite and gracious gift receiver, he no longer gets a gift. His disrespect caused this, and he has nobody to blame but himself. Your grandmother, also disrespectful. It wasn't necessary for her to repeat your dad's BS. Sounds like her son came by it honestly. Not the a-hole. Your dad just didn't like you found out what he said. He should be feeling guilty because he hurt you. Your grandma is suspect too. I know it sounds corny, but grown people are supposed to know that genuine feelings and efforts from your heart are worth more than the gifts they receive. I'd scale back from giving gifts to everybody acting like a spoiled brat towards you. My son Jake is currently in 8th grade. So is his cousin Phil and step-cousin Mike. Phil is my wife's brother's kid, and Mike is my sister Beth's stepson. All of them play soccer and are pretty good. They don't all go to the same elementary school now, but will be in the same high school. They see each other pretty regularly. The flagship state university, about 2 hours away from us, has a really cool week-long soccer camp this summer that registration has just opened up for. All 3 of them would be qualified for it based on the select teams, tryout required, they play for. The camp is not cheap, about $3,000, so I think it'll be a great experience, and the coach for the high school they're going to is somewhat involved in the operations of it. So going may help the odds of making the highly competitive soccer team. Jake is really excited, and we're going to register him for the camp. Same deal with Phil. My sister and her husband, however, don't think they can afford it, due to Beth's husband getting recently laid off. I feel bad, but it is what it is. They suggested that we all send them to an in-town camp at the same time that is about 1/4 the price. I talked with Jake, and he'd much rather do the stay-away one, and I agreed he should, so I'm fine with paying for it. Beth, however, is begging me to reconsider. I thought about offering to pay for Mike, but my wife said we shouldn't, because we'll be going on a vacation to a very nice adults-only all-inclusive while he's away, to make the most of it, and that's just a lot of money to spend. Since telling Beth, she's been really mad at me and saying I'm a bad brother, uncle, and rubbing it in by taking a 4K vacation the week of. She thinks this is going to increase the divide the kids already have due to the step dynamic. I feel kinda bad for Mike, but also feel like Beth is overthinking it, and it will be just fine. Am I the a-hole for this? Not the a-hole, since neither your sister nor her stepson are your responsibility. I don't see why you would be the a-hole for having a vacation and sending your child to camp. I'm always surprised at family and friends who think no one should enjoy life just because they can't. Your sister is completely delusional. How is she turning their financial situation into a you-Jake problem? They can't afford to send their son to a camp, so that means Jake can't go? Nope, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You are only expected to pay for your son, and not his cousins or step-cousins. I'd be concerned about what will happen when they all go to the same school together, if your sister will continue to try to guilt you to limiting Jake's opportunities to be fair to Mike. What will happen if one of the 3 boys don't make the team in high school?